Welcome back to Etienne's Place, where there are no problems, only challenges and solutions. Last week, we looked at the first two steps in our financial planning process, which were determining your current situation and setting goals. Today, we continue with our presentation, so we'll go through the other steps in the planning process. So stay tuned and be informed. Identify alternative courses of action. This is life. This is reality. We're faced with things that are under our control. We're faced with things that are external to our control. And so we need to factor into the picture, into the equation, into our decisions and our plans, the possibility that, hey, things may not go according to my plans. And so we must set alternative courses of action. People loosely call it plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan Z. And you hope you don't have to really go through all those less favorable plans, because usually after you pass plan B, in my view, once you have to touch on plan C and plan D, then hey, you're kind of getting into gray areas. But at least accompanying my primary plan A, I should at least have a plan B, so if things go awry, then I know I can always jump back and take corrective action. So therefore, we're saying that as step 3 in the process, there ought to be, or we need to identify and establish alternative courses of action. Let's look a little bit at these the alternatives that we may set. First, we may decide, you know what, I'm going to, as it were, keep on the same course of action. What does this mean? I made my plans, I set up my structure, I've identified my strategy, and so far, everything is working according to plan. Everything is like clockwork. And the saying is, if it's not broken, do not try and fix it. And therefore, if that is the case, then I'm saying I'm going to keep on the same course of action. I'm going to stick to the plan. That's a perfect place to be. Stick to the plan. Now, things may be going so well that I'm saying, wow, maybe I can enhance the plan. So for example, back to the credit card example, I may say, all right, initially I said $200 a month for the next number of months, years, will clear this balance. And things are going well. I'm making my $200 payment every month. And then something happened, I get a promotion or I got a second job, and suddenly I realize that, hey, I'm finding some more money. Now, with that additional available funding, maybe I don't have to make this plan continue to be a 5-year plan. Possibly I can reduce it to a 4-year plan. So instead of using this additional money to buy fancy clothes, jewelry, etc., maybe I should dedicate these additional funds to the process of credit card balance clearing. And so we're sticking to the plan, but we're enhancing it. So in this case, we say, oh, you know what? I'm going to increase my monthly payment from $200 to $250. So instead of actually taking 4 or 5 years to pay off this balance, hey, I can see where I can really clear it within 3 years, 3.5 years. So this is having a good plan, it's working, but I find where I can enhance the plan. Or I may be required to alter my situation altogether. And that's what I meant by when I said life happens. And so yes, the best set plan will not necessarily always work out. So I may find that things happen. I have a health issue in the family. When I made the plan, I had 2 jobs, and that second job, I've lost it. Whatever could arise that would cause me not to be able to stick with the original plan. As a result of that, I have to alter my current plan because my current situation has been impacted by one thing or the next, okay? It's interesting. Let's go back to where I started on this point. I'm saying you should always have an alternative course of action. Now, am I going to wait until something pops up to work on an alternative plan? No. I need to say, okay, my plan is to pay $200 each month, and by so doing, I will clear my credit card balance. But then I need to go further from day one and say, but in the event, peradventure, something comes up and I'm not able to pay the $200, what would be my revised plan of action? And that in itself is actually an alternative course of action. So if and when that eventuality is here and I need to adjust midstream, then I'm not caught off guard, but I know, okay, I had planned for this possibility. It is now here. Let's move in the direction that we had foreseen. And the most drastic now of alternative course of actions would be where I decide I'm going to undertake a totally new course of action. At the time of planning, at the time of strategizing, I thought this was the best way to go. But after a month, 2 months, a year, I'm seeing where, maybe I did not think this thing through properly, or things came about that render whatever was credible, advisable, wise, sound back then is no longer credible, wise, sound now. And therefore it required for me to undertake a totally new course of action. And so we're now at step number 4 in the whole financial planning process. And this is where we need to formulate an action plan to meet the goals. Action plan. This may seem obvious, but believe me, some of us, we think, we dream, we envision, we see ourselves moving from point A and reaching to point B. And doing all of this without having what I refer to as a sound plan of action. How do I take myself? How do I take my dreams? How do I take my aspirations from the here and the now to there and the then? So it's all in my head, but I need therefore to put it in a manner, in a way, so that it can become reality. So our 4th step is really developing an action plan. Okay? Sometimes you see a document that is called a statement of works. A lot of time in projects, there's a project, vision and goal, etc. But then you have a statement of work. So the statement of work is where, as we say, the tire meets the road. So that we're going to know in a very detailed way, outline the step-by-step process to how, when, where, what we're going to be doing, to be addressing in order to achieve our goals. So this is basically what we're doing. We're thinking and we're trying to choose workable, credible, advisable ways to achieve our goals. Okay? So that plan of action is critical. Plan of action is critical. And again, as before, a plan of action may seem to be the perfect plan right now. It may seem to us that, okay, hey, this is the way to go. But then once we embark on that process, once we embark on the journey, it is possible for us to see that, okay, maybe some modification is necessary, maybe some rethinking of this plan. And therefore, let's make a change here because it may be to our benefit, or it may be less detrimental, whichever way, for us to not pursue course, that specific course, but to change lanes. All right. And that is all in the planning process. All in the planning process. Good. And now we come to step number 5, which is our final broad step. And this is, and a lot of us fail on this point. Review your plan periodically. Review your plan periodically and make the necessary revisions. Now, financial planning is not a static activity. A financial plan document is not a static document, right? It is Some people refer to it as a document that is alive, that is always changing, always asking to be revised. And so the financial planning process is a dynamic process. Hence the need to always review the plan, and having reviewed the plan, making any necessary change, of course, that may be deemed necessary. It is advisable that you do a complete review of your financial plan at least once per year. And this is quite simple, because at the end of the year, when you're thinking of, okay, it's now time to prepare my taxes. If you're a business owner, you're looking at your full year financial reports. It is a time when you're looking at, okay, how did I do over the past year? And so as part of that overall review, it is a time to look back at your plan, see how, how credibly it continues to be, how successful its execution, and then take whatever steps necessary to, as it were, make any necessary revision as you deem necessary. So that is very, 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 very important. So we need to be revisiting, we need to be revising what we call our financial blueprint. That's what it's referred to, your financial blueprint, which is really the step-by-step guide as to how you get from point A to point B. We need to be mindful of the fact that the factors to be considered will fall in two basic categories. Those under our control and others that is referred to as uncontrollable factors. And so if you're a farmer, you have no control over the weather, and therefore that's something you'll have to react to and to adjust to if you should have bad weather. If your business deals in multiple currencies, it means therefore that fluctuations in exchange rate is outside of your control, and so you just have to make the necessary adjustments to your operations. So we need to focus our energies on the things that are on our control, like hiring, inventory management, etc., those kind of things, and realize that these are the things that we can always have a grip on to ensure that our operations are running smoothly and profitably, efficiently, that kind of way. Now, I would want to encourage us to take this bit of information as a teaser, a starting point that should help you to open the conversation with your accountant, your tax preparer, your financial advisor, towards going into some more depth into the matter. Also need to advise that at Etienne Business Solutions, we provide a 30-minute free business consultation. I call it business consultation because it can be just about for anything. Your personal financial planning, your tax position, your company's financial accounting management, whatever. So we provide this 30-minute free 30-minute consultation. You call, make an appointment, you come, we sit, we discuss, and we help to put you on the right path. So once again, I thank you for joining me at Etienne Business Solutions. We're keeping it real, we're keeping it simple. And as I always say, and I continue to say, and I know that you agree with me, that at this place, Etienne's place, there are no problems, only challenges and solutions. I look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.